All right, welcome back, everybody, to Let's Get Tribal. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3.
Let's get tribal.
Exactly. It's a lot harder when you're not in person. All
You
right.
sounded like Jam Jam when you said that last bit. Something about the way you were, whoa.
Hello, everybody. So basically, it's a lot harder when you're not in person. But okay. So
Because
basically,
my Wi-Fi sucks.
no, it
It
doesn't.
always does.
So we have a lot to cover today. It was how long was that episode? Was that longer? And where was the intro? I went back and I looked at other seasons to see, because I know that they just started to do the intros. Do they not put the intros on Paramount Plus?
Oh, like the intro where it's like the showing.
The intro.
Yeah, I didn't remember it either. Maybe I wasn't paying attention good enough, but I don't think it was there.
It wasn't. So then I went and looked back at last season to see, oh, well, maybe it's in the second episode, but maybe they just don't put them on Paramount Plus. I thought they did. Anyway, I was pissed. Okay.
So we're going to be talking about season 47, episode 1. Last time Carolyn and I spoke, I was in person in Minnesota, which obviously I wish I could do that every week, but we're trying to be able to keep a more consistent schedule with our own lifetime stuff, because I'm a full-time student. Carolyn is a full-time influencer and on other shows. I'm kidding, Carolyn. No, Carolyn does a lot. But I am really excited that we're getting to start this up again because it is kind of fun because I enjoy having this as like an opportunity for us to catch up. But at the same time, I am also really excited about the season. And I feel like I'm excited about the season for a lot of different reasons. But I'll start with the fact that since season 42 and on up until till this season, I have known the winner of every single season and generally known. It's true. I've generally known what would happen. And you're not supposed to, right? But being a part of being part of the Survivor community or family, if you will, like people, just like they cast people for the show that make good drama, people can't keep a secret and they tell everything. And so I'm really excited because this is the first time in years that I'm watching the show without knowing any of these people personally, without knowing what happens, without knowing like even the winner. And so that's just exciting for me because I'm like, oh my gosh, I can really feel like I'm a fan again. And I don't know there's something interesting where I feel like I've been longing for that for a long time. And it's now fun to actually get to talk about it from a completely unbiased perspective.
Well, when I find out the winner, I'll make sure to tell you.
You better not. Oh my, because I feel like we always meet somebody and then they're like, do you want to know?
Oh, I know, but that's first.
And I'm like, no. And then they'll tell me anyways. You know what I mean?
No, I don't, because I tell them no and they listen. Thank you.
Oh, so people listen to you, but they don't listen to me.
Oh, that was a lie. And but I do tell people, do not tell me because I don't want to know.
So Carolyn recently found out, because we've been playing the piano together at her house, that I am a singer. And I'm not a good singer, but I sing. I sing a lot. I listen to tunes. I harmonize with whistling. Like, I love music. I do. But you can't tell by her face right now, if you're not watching this on YouTube or on our Patreon and you're just listening, you would see her face in pure disgust. I love music and Carolyn doesn't. And so
that's a lie. So I'm going to stop you right there. And you're talking way too much, Carson, because that's not true. I love music. It's you singing in that voice. And I think a lot of people, no, whatever. It doesn't matter. We all have our opinion about music, but it's the most obnoxious. Are you talented and do you know how to like hold a tune? Yeah, you do. Like, I will give you that. But it is the most obnoxious style of music. It's one of just don't. But my dad loves it. He's been listening to the song. I was sending my dad Carson's music and he listens to it. Oh, he said, this puts a smile on my face. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's great. It makes me so crabby. And I've learned while hanging out with Carson that the more I tell Carson that something is bothering me, the more that he'll do it. So Yeah, I was ready for just like a break, a detox. Do I love Carson? Yes, I do. But do I need my space? Yes, I do.
Yeah, we've been too close recently. And
Oh,
yeah,
anyway,
could you demonstrate what type of music you don't like versus what type of music you do? Because I feel like you do like some music, like you like the Cranberries, like we both share that in common.
music. Don't put words in my mouth. I don't like that. Girl,
Do it. Do it. Show us.
No, I don't know how you do it. Oh, it's annoying. It's annoying. Anyway, so yes, like yeah, we need to
So
from each other. So, anyways,
so it's a good thing I didn't sing on the island.
I'm so glad you didn't. But I feel like if you would have known it bugged me, you would have done it out there too. Thank you.
Okay, now that is true, and I will say this because I'll admit this about myself, but I know that I'm an aggravator. Like my whole family knows. So and I don't mean to, but I enjoy being annoying. I do. I love like I do sometimes, and I can't help it all the times. But like my favorite thing in the world is a prank. Oh my gosh! Like if you let me do a prank on somebody, I'll be laughing about it for the next year or so. So I even said out like because I would try to do pranks on the show, but they never showed my pranks, and I was actually really sad about it because I feel like that is like the crazy side of me, and I am crazy sometimes, but I love a prank, and I know there's a lot of people like Carolyn that don't appreciate pranks like I do.
No, I appreciate a good prank, but
Do you?
yeah, if it's like fun, but like it was just, I'm like literally trying to like do these cameos and you're just like, it was just like,
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't need to interrupt your cameos. Like that's not fun. The worst is when someone will call you during your cameos, and I feel like you just learned how to actually turn on Do Not Disturb, and then it will like and by the way, Carolyn's cameos aren't
I'm
like
number two now.
what? Coach is beating you?
It's fine, but they finally sent me my reaction videos anyway. Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna come in hot and it'll be good.
So, if
What do
you
we even
will
mean
help
anyway?
us,
It doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. Like seriously, it's true. Like what am I like? It's true.
yeah, it is, but it's kind of fun too. So we were doing a live stream at her house, and we told everybody, hey, book.
You, Carson, not we, you. Well, yeah. And so then I'm like, well, then you're.
But I told everybody that they should book a cameo from her, and I took her phone and I lowered her price to $10. She got like 10, 12 cameos within a minute. It was hilarious.
Fun, and we were doing them, and then you'd come in and we did them really long because I do them all pretty long anyway. All right, let's
What's your average length of
yeah,
cameo?
sorry,
I would say at least 12 minutes.
long time. I get connected with them. I really do. I really enjoy doing them.
No, that's true. And I feel like you do them unlike anybody else on that app where like you really talk to someone like you're on FaceTime with them. But it's so interesting because you can't hear them, but it really does feel like a conversation, even though there's not one, because sometimes you'll be like, and I know what you're thinking. And it's just like, how do you know that? And usually you do know what they're thinking. It's very fun.
Yeah, I love them.
Okay, so we are going to go on a break and we'll be right back.
We're going to be right back, so stay tuned, everybody. Hi. Welcome back, everyone. So, honestly, after watching the premiere, which I was like, did they add more challenges? And I personally, when I'm watching an episode, and this might be just from my own experience out there and not doing well, but I like watching people not struggle, but like struggle a little bit with the challenges or not be like, so like, I want someone to mess up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Did you not feel like anyone messed up? Because I definitely feel like there were some significant mess ups.
Oh, I didn't notice. Or embarrassing stuff.
What are you talking about? Andy had that meltdown.
Oh, yes. I was, oh,
What do you mean? Oh, everyone's perfect. That was a disaster.
I forgot. Okay, yeah, no, and yeah, oh, I don't know what you would call that. And I'm not gonna lie, like, and I sent him a message because I was like, don't read anything online because people are gonna be mean. It's true.
Yeah.
And it's like you're out there, but yeah, even me, I'm watching that, just like watching like Liz with the food. Can I empathize and be like, oh my gosh, I feel for this person? And I feel like Liz's meltdown thing was like so much deeper than people even actually understood. I do. She explains that in her backstory. However, like with this, I mean, I was just like this, like, oh my gosh, like be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. But it just, that's how it, you get paranoid out there. Like I get it. So I can't, I'm not gonna like talk crap about them, but it's,
Yeah, I have a lot to
felt for
discuss.
him.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I have a lot to discuss with that moment specifically because you can obviously point to clearly it was not the right information to share, not the right time. It almost felt like just I don't know. It's like you got to read his mind for a second and get to actually see and hear what he was actually thinking. And it was interesting watching the other tribes' reactions because they're like, what is happening? Like,
Yeah.
and I'll say this too, like, tell me what you think, but like, when I was there, it was really hard to hear people because you didn't have backup audio or like anything in your ear of like what people are saying. And sometimes I just wouldn't even be able to hear what people are saying and I'd just be nodding my head. So like, do you think that they were able to hear what Andy was saying, like the other tribes? I mean, clearly his tribe was able to hear him.
Oh, yes, I think they heard. Yeah. Oh, but half the time, yeah, I know what you're now. Yes. But yes, I feel like like the stuff he was saying, yes, I think they heard. And it was just so
Clearly.
shocking. Yes. And that is such a good example of like how we can, because I always tell people this, like when I do my sessions, I say this, my cameos, I say this in everyday life because it's something that I tell myself and am not always 100% perfect with, but it's be careful what you say to yourself. And I have such an instant like,
Mhm.
no, Carolyn, don't. But we can say so much just horrible things to ourselves and start believing it. And then you're out there and you're already like with people that you don't know. And it's like trying to fit in all over again. I think about those day one conversations because we watch the show, duh, everyone's fans out there. It's awkward as hell. Like they don't put enough, like, it's embarrassing. You know how embarrassed that, like, I always immediately think of that conversation I had with Helen.
What was the conversation?
I do, like, I love Helen. I'm just saying, like, girl, it was like I just go up to her and how I had felt was like nobody is like, I felt like total bottom. I was connecting with Jam obviously early on, but it was like I need to go up to more people. I need to like talk with people. I like no one's doing it to me, so I need to like hello. It's awkward. And then there's camera people right there, and then you have to be and we all see it. Episode 1, I feel really good about you. And then like it's like we don't know, what do you mean feel good about anybody? It's like day 1, you don't know crap. So you're just going off of like a vibe, but mainly I feel like people are just, you know what I'm saying, you just want to like connect with someone. And with that, and it's like that, what was her name, Rachel?
Rachel, when Andy was opening up to Rachel, or
Yes,
yeah.
he was just like, it was just too much, too, you know what I'm saying? He was wanting it to, like she said, too eager. But I get that desperation because it's like, and then you start to see other people who are connecting and talking, and it's like, oh crap. It's
Okay, so here's my opinion about what you were just talking about. Like, oh, like I know I should be talking to people. I know all this yada yada yada. But like at the same time, I feel like that's what the mistake that people make, in specifically maybe an Andy situation, or I don't know if we saw this directly, but like where people feel this paranoia to then go and make sure they're talking to this person, make sure you're having a conversation. And when you think of it like that, sometimes it comes across as, you know, not authentic, disingenuous. And I think that a lot of game bots do play like that, where they just go in and they're like, oh, I've got to talk to everybody. I've got to make everyone like me. And it's like, why don't you just go out there and like enjoy these people? Because that's kind of like, in my opinion, that's the most natural way to do it, is just to see this as like, hey, I'm going to be stuck with these people for a while. I might as well become friends with them, or like at least
like
get to know a little bit about them.
What
It's
I'm saying is like, making that time to just go, and I'm just saying it's awkward and uncomfortable. I'm saying day one. After that, I was like, I don't give a crap. But day one, like when hi,
No, you're
like,
right.
I feel really good about you right now. Yeah, day two, I didn't give a crap. But I'm saying like you know what I mean? You don't want to be
Totally.
the odd one out. Day one on Survivor, it sucks. Like I was that.
Yeah, it's this weird thing where you're like, okay, I'm now interacting with all these new people, but at the same time I also know that I have to make them like me. But if they don't like me, that's okay, but it's also not okay, because then I could lose $1 million. And so there's all these like little things going on that you're trying to keep track of, and it makes it not only overwhelming but also one of those things where you just kind of lose track with like, what do I even do in this situation? You're right, it feels like out of body. It feels like this is so abnormal. Yeah.
And you're being recorded, and then he already had insecurities,
Yep.
and we all got insecurities, and then you like see the people connecting and blah blah blah, and then you're like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you brought up Rachel, and I wanted to specifically talk about her because I was really impressed with Rachel. I mean, more so in maybe I just enjoyed watching her. I kind of liked how you could tell that her ideas were all over the place, but yet her body was doing something different than what her head was telling her to do. And it was just interesting to watch that like dilemma go on with her situation with Andy, where he clearly needs, emotional support, but then she's worried about, oh no, I'm gonna get away from the tribe. And so this is just another example of all of the mind things that you're balancing when you're playing a game like Survivor.
But Rachel, yeah, I'm talking. Yeah. When I watch, and it reminded me like even like how Kenzie and Ben just like when he was struggling with the panic attacks and then or with the anxiety, and then she would comfort him, and it's like that's what I want to see. And I'm sorry if it's ruining your game, and I respect how she feels about that, and you don't want to like day one, but it's like then we lose the human element of the show, which in my opinion, that's why I watch. I don't want to watch people be robots. And I think she handled it the best that she could. Absolutely. Like, and I get it. There's no way you would ever comfort me on any beach. That's the truth, Carson. But like,
I did comfort you a lot.
Oh yeah, you did when I had that one. Yes, you did. Jam left.
Okay.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's right. Thank you. However, it's in day one. Again, I'm not like being like, Rachel, why were you out there rubbing his back or something? I'm not saying that, but it's like, that's what I like, is like more of the human. Who was that? Gabe, who's just like, everyone's happy here, but like, I came here to play. Shut up. Like, of course you did. We know that, but like, I don't care. I just want to see, because I need people to root for. I need people that like I can invest in, and I'm not investing in robots, and I'm not calling anyone robots. I'm just saying that like I need to know more about people. It's true.
But then again, Carolyn, some people go out there for like the reasons that you're saying, like you did, and then there's other people that simply go out there because they need the money, or some people just want to win the game.
But like we're like, can't there be a mix? I mean, we're into episode 1. You know what I mean? And I know you're a bot sometimes, Carson, but what I'm saying is like, I like to have people to root for, but then I like there to be like, oh my gosh, these two have to turn on each other, and they have like a deep bond too. It's episode 1. I'm not like, I'm just saying.
So, all right. So speaking of bots, who do you think out of Yeah. Okay. Speaking of the bots, who do you think is the most bot-like of the entire cast? Like, did anyone stick out to you as a major bot robot?
As a major, like it's episode 1. I have no idea. But Gabe with that comment, I'm here to play, but watch, he won't be. Again, this is episode 1. Who knows? But I like those stories from home. I like those, like you tell me about. I like it. I like to hear their backstories, hopefully naturally at camp, but still, I like to see people actually bonding you know?
Yeah, I loved watching on the Blue Tribe, Sue interact with a bunch of people. She was just funny to watch because
Why were you surprised, Carson?
what do you mean was I surprised?
Were you surprised that she would I thought you were surprised.
I'm not surprised. I've been rooting for Sue since I saw her, but no, I mean like I thought that she was really interesting because you can see just like she's so expressive and I think who shared the idol with her? Was it Gabe?
Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe shared the idol with her, or the fact that he had found something, and I loved watching her reaction. Like she was very funny. It was also interesting just seeing Taryn get back from that like little challenge he had against Asia, where he got the key. And I wanted to ask you because I was like, I don't know what I would have done in this situation because clearly Taryn had found that little floaty device in the ocean with the key attached. But Asia was like right there. Should she have like kept tugging and tried to take it from him, or would that have been really bad?
I didn't feel like when he went back to camp, it was like Asia was trying to like wrestle me for it. I didn't see it like that at all.
I mean, she definitely tried to snatch it, like that little purple thing.
Yes.
I mean, I agree. But then now you have this like rift against Taryn. And I honestly, for me, if I were in that situation, I'm not sure I would have grabbed it. But then again, like your relationship with your tribe mates and giving them, all the supplies and stuff might at the moment be way more important than that like long-term idea of getting along with Taryn.
Exactly. Like how many of those, I'm trying to think of like, when they have those things right away and then like how many of those have like ended like in like real alliances later on in the game? Come on.
No, it's true. But then, I mean, first, we were talking about it earlier. First impressions are like one of the most important things. If you start off bad, like it's hard to get off of that foot. Like I do think that like I think you, Carolyn, are a good example of that, where a lot of other tribes saw you at challenges and they judge you for it, right?
And not even just that, I'm screaming.
Yeah. Oh, right. I didn't even mention that.
Screaming. I'm sucked. I'm like taking my pants off, like what the heck are you doing? Which whatever, like good. They told us we couldn't have like remember, and so they told us like don't remove your crap. So I thought like I can't, and then I'm like I can't move. So it's like whatever. But yes, of course I'm aware.
So going back to Andy.
Don't act like that, Carolyn. Don't scream so much. Don't contain it or no, thank you.
Okay, so going back to Andy, he clearly had a meltdown in front of everybody where he basically said that I was thinking about throwing John under the bus. And everyone's looking at him like their jaws are dropping. And it was interesting because it was like, this is just so unnecessary. And I think John described it best, in my opinion. It was messy. And so I mean, I would think that from a perspective of other tribes, but if I were on Andy's tribe, I would think he's incredibly messy. So we'll talk about this more after the break, but we're going to pick up on this because I really want to nail down what was going on with Andy in that moment. Okay, we'll be back.
But we like messy. Girl.
Okay, we're back and we're talking about Andy. So Andy clearly had the meltdown. Hey, Andy, we love you. He had the diarrhea mouth moment. Do you think that was because he was so fatigued? Maybe he had a minor heat stroke. Like, I don't really know what went on.
No, I'm not going to blame it on anything. It's just people are human and stuff happens. There's nothing wrong with him. I'm sorry. That's how I see it. Like,
no, I'm not saying anything's wrong with him. I was wondering, do you think that something like the minor heat stroke, the paranoia, was there something that caused that outburst, or is that Andy's personality?
I think that's Andy's personality, and that sometimes happens when you have insecurities that like come to the surface out there. I think that yes, we're already like not our it's already hard to like function out there, but it was like the first day, and I think a lot of pressure. Like I remember when we were doing that challenge with the blocks, we remember when we had to stop because it was people were like passing out and stuff. The one that I was farting the whole time, that one. So basically that like that's when I knew Survivor was real. So it's like it's hard. So yes, I think that's part of it is like the heat and blah blah blah. But no, I think more so it's the mental, because the mental, the insecurities, the struggle, the just paranoia that like I'm going to be the first out. It's yes, it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, okay, here, correct me if I'm wrong on this theory, but so Andy talks about how he had a moment where he thought about throwing John under the bus. And I watched that thinking that that was a sincere, just like a random thought in the moment. It was kind of like, what? Because they had shown John and Andy bonding at one point. But then seeing how the episode ended up, where John is then voted out with 5 votes against 1, and he votes for Annika, I think. Is that right? Or yeah, I think he voted for Annika. It became more apparent to me that I don't think that that was the full story. I think and you correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, what it looked like was all of the young people kind of ousted John early on.
Yes,
and
they
so
did.
John was already a target before that challenge. And it wasn't just that Andy had randomly thought about it and was thinking about throwing John under the bus. It was already a planted seed that was growing within the youngsters that they thought about then voting John out. It's just that Andy in that moment decided to spill the beans and let everybody know. And I feel like he also did that because he probably was comfortable and knowing what their plan was.
You know what? Let's talk about tribe strength. And everyone, like, first of all, I didn't know that was still a thing. But second, I think part of the reason was like, John ain't going to help us in challenges. Well, like Andy, like didn't even finish it. So like, girl, come on.
Well, also like, it's just weird because if a tribe mate just randomly, if a tribe mate just randomly was like, I was thinking about throwing this person on the bus, I'm not going to be more inclined to vote for that person. If anything, I'm going to be like, you're messy. Why would you just reveal that to everybody?
Well, and I'm confused too, because I thought about me, and I'm like, and I know like why you cat me, but like, girl, it's kind of like at the same time, it's kind of like I sucked at challenges and I was annoying. So like, girl.
I didn't think you were annoying. I thought that you were unpredictable.
Which is a great quality to have in Survivor.
Well, the thing is, Carolyn, your unpredictability was based on lies that you had told me. So that's why I thought that. And that's why I didn't trust you at first. That's a whole different story. But
there was no like reason to keep me around. Why? Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, there was many reasons. Like if you look back on our game, like people.
But I'm saying like, you know what I mean? If I would have been on any other tribe, I would not have stuck around, and it's the truth.
Okay, so
strength thing, like put that to bed.
Right. So Andy, in my opinion, reveals to the entire cast that he thought about putting John's name down. And maybe it was just a spur of the moment spill of the beans, but he did frame it well afterwards, where he was like, and it was just like one of those things that popped in my head. And I would never do that. And then he's telling that to John later, and it's like, so you just randomly spilled those beans and then decided to backtrack. Like, it's already out there. So like thinking about being in John's perspective, that is not a good feeling. And even just watching the rest of the group interact with John after, they're like, how do you feel that he just called you out? And I'm like, he didn't really call him out. He just said that he had a moment. So it just felt like there was some underlying already energy to push John out of the game that was already there.
That he already was feeling, but I don't think that he was like doing that strategically or anything. I think it just fell out.
Okay, so we didn't have anyone like this on our season, but if you knew that there was someone really famous on our season, and obviously like we were all from nothing, other than normal lives. Like none of us were famous on our season. Like Brandon obviously almost was or was part of the NFL, but like no one was like a big figure like John Lovett is. You know what I mean? So if you had known that about someone on our season while you were playing, like would that change how you see them? Would it change whether you wanted to play with them? Like you think that might have also been a motive that voted him out?
No, I think that he would like, do I think he's old? No, come on. Like,
I don't think he's old either.
But like what I'm saying is I think he just did not, he didn't fit in, like or fit in with the, like, I think that was the bigger thing. I do.
So you don't think there was like anything he could have done to change his fate in the game?
He didn't fit in. I think they liked him and blah, 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 blah. But there was a reason, like there's more of a reason to keep. Then they started, whoever was on to like, okay, wow, he's smart. Now he's talking and blah, 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 blah. And I feel like there was just more benefits in keeping Andy, even though that's how they saw it.
Yeah. Well, I do think there is some merit to like coming in as a public figure versus not, and how that changes how you play, how you interact with people. And just I don't know, maybe it's an internal thing, but like looking at the history of Survivor and people who already were somewhat known playing the game, like generally you don't see a lot of people go far, or do well that were already maybe really rich, maybe really well known. I mean, except the one person that stands out to me is someone like Mike White. And then I'm like, well, what was it about Mike that was different? Was it, and to be honest, and maybe this is just me coming from a non-film background and not knowing much about that industry, but like, I think I would have recognized Mike White's name, but I wouldn't have been able to put that to a face. Do you think that like being more recognizable is something that could work against you? Clearly you had that interaction between Teeny and Asia, where Teeny's like, hey, I recognize you from Rob Has a Podcast.
Yeah, if you're Asia, absolutely, because then it's like you literally are like a professional of this. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
This for like, the ins and outs of this, but that again, that doesn't make you like, it all depends on the cast and the people and who you're with. Like there's no experts in this, but yeah, I think that can sometimes work against you too. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I don't know how I would have felt in Asia's position if someone had to come up to me and been like, if I were on a podcast, and I wouldn't say that. I mean, Rob Has a Podcast is big, but like I would say most of the attention is put on Rob and Steven's know-it-alls and then his exit interviews. But like Asia's podcast is more niche, I would say. So Teeny clearly is a big super fan, or really knows a lot about the Survivor community, is very involved if she's able to recognize Asia. But then again, it's like I don't know how comfortable I would be in Asia's position if I knew that someone recognized me. I would kind of be like, yeah, I don't want you here long. But Teeny seemed really genuine. So at the same time, like maybe there's some merit there as well.
But there's no hiding your like super fandom nowadays anyway. So who gives a crap? It's true.
So did you not feel like it as though I hid mine? Like I felt like I did a pretty good job.
No, there's no point. They literally tell us we cast super fans. So what is the point? It's so annoying. And goodness, Jam actually we would talk about what's that freaking weird thing that we'd all like, the Redmond stuff and the
Redmond
groups would be in, and we talked about all of that. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, I remember y'all talking about that at night.
There's no point. There's no point in hiding it. Like, come on, oh God. Anyways, it's true. Come on. So I don't think like, who cares? We're fans.
But it is kind of fun to not share something and then like reveal it later. I did that and I had a very fun time.
Boring. No. And then there's just people who just like, anyway. Girl. So.
Okay. So then they go to tribal, they vote John out. And I don't know. Honestly, it felt like a boring episode that they tried to make really interesting, but I will say,
what?
I mean, but wait, let me keep going. But I will say what carried this episode, in my opinion, was the cast. And No, listen, and it wasn't that the cast in any way, there was one person that really stood out to me as this big
Yes.
character.
Yes, there
Who?
was.
Who? Rome? I mean, I liked Rome, but I don't think he stood out to me like as like the biggest character of the episode. But I definitely liked him.
Biggest character of the episode.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like everybody's bringing something different, and I do feel as though some seasons it's more geared towards certain people. Like season 37 was very much like Christian and Angelina and some of the other major players where you're rooting in those two, or you're just interested in the way they are. Do what?
That was episode 1.
No, I know, but I remember that from episode 1 of season 37.
Oh yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is it's balanced, and I feel as though they're.
Yeah, I don't. Let's not with the balance anymore.
You don't like balance. You'd rather people stick out.
But I do. I liked Rome. That was like, I would like, you need people like that. You need people who are different from everybody else, who do like, and I get it. I get it. We're on Survivor. Is it like the smartest thing? But you know how boring you probably were to watch, Carson, as you were sitting back at camp just twiddling your thumbs? Like, get out there and look for something. You're on Survivor. So I get that itch to like go and like, hello, is it the smartest thing? Who cares? Ugh.
But Carolyn, if like Rome is like Danny, and we all very much so were aware of Danny. We were like, this is just a bad look. It is a bad look.
Talking as a viewer, okay? It's fun to watch. When he like,
it's fun to watch.
Not like just went into that well. That's what
that was hilarious. That was like, so funny.
That's what I like. And then walking, and it's just so funny because it's like, then I think he like walked the other way. Everyone was like,
they're like, just say hello.
I love it. Like, we need people like that. Sorry. It's true.
No, yeah, that was funny.
You just have everybody who's, you know, like doing the right thing or what they're supposed to do. I like that personally. So
here's an interesting fact about the water well is that it's not actually a well. It's a trash can with water inside. No, it's not.
I know, I'm kidding. It literally is like.
It's literally like, okay, think of elementary school trash can with a big plastic black bag in it, and then put it on an island and build like a little rock thing around it. That's the well, and they dump water in it. That's clean.
It's like smells like chemicals. It's horrible, but it like, I'm not going to complain because that water I never even wanted to drink. Did you? It was awful.
No, because you would find dead things like lizards in it.
And I don't want to complain because like the old school people will be like, we had to boil our water.
We had to do this. Yeah, we'll get a call from coach. Back in my time, I had to drink the water from the tree sap. He would call us and say that.
The river or whatever, or the whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I like that.
I don't know, but I have a feeling they didn't replace the water. So then you're drinking from Rome, like Rome's bath water. I mean, would you do that, Carolyn, just for fun? Just go jump and bathe in the water well? I think I would now. Okay. Well, maybe we'll find out later whether Carolyn would do that. I'm kidding.
Whether you would.
I would do it. I totally would, just to mess with people and then have like a fun shot of me like bathing in the well just to act. If I didn't like my tribe, I definitely would. Okay. We are going to take a break and we're going to be back for the last remaining little bit about this episode. And we'll talk a little bit more about what's giving Carolyn life and what's puzzling me this week. Okay, we'll be back.
Whoa. Okay. So what is puzzling me lately?
No, that's my part.
Oh, What's giving me life right now is the sunshine because it starts to get really cold here. So like I'm just really loving being outside right now and being in the sun. We didn't like when you were here, Carson, we didn't get enough time outside. Am I right? We were like
No,
indoors.
because we were in your house just like doing things. We had to record this like board game that we were playing for an
It
influencing
was
thing. And
yes.
it took us, it said 45 minutes. It took us probably 4 to 5 hours to do this game. And we didn't even
Partly
finish.
because we were having so much fun, and it was like Carson and I haven't played a board game like that in a while, and it was like we were laughing, and it's a great game. You know what I'm saying?
Have we ever played a board game together besides that one? I don't think we
No,
have.
and it was just like,
Exactly.
what? It's really important to play games, right, Carson?
I love a board game. I'm a
Oh,
big fan of board game nights. I host people at my
yes.
place. We play Catan, we play charades, we play all the fun games. I'm a big fan of the big like group games where you have like 20 people. That's my favorite. So yeah, no, I actually will say if you want to have actual practice with deception and like gameplay that you might actually find on something like Survivor. Legitimately mean this. I think that the best way to practice is playing social politic games like Secret Hitler or like Mafia or games like that where you're like trying to convince someone of something that's not actually, or that you need, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to convince them something that they shouldn't actually do that would help your game, et cetera, et cetera. Like I legitimately mean that. It is one of the best practicing things you can do to go and play a game like Survivor to prepare for the social aspect. Did you practice social games, Carolyn? I'm kidding.
Sure. I played all the words in the world. You know what I'm saying?
hmm Did you see also, I forgot to mention this, but Asia was wearing a Jam Jam shirt at the
I know, I love
beginning.
that. Yeah,
Wasn't
super.
that cute?
Well, it's just fun, like to see, like especially like how people like how the prior seasons like impact the new ones. So I love
Well,
that.
also, it's interesting because I feel as though for a while there weren't like merch shirts, and now it's like a big thing where you go and wear them to watch parties and you get
Exactly.
like your favorite person's merch shirt, or you order a Jerry picture on a shirt from Carolyn's website. Like they're it's so fun.
I don't think I have them up yet, but I will.
No, you do. You have or was it Kramer?
Remember,
Kramer. Okay,
you know what I'm
Carolyn
saying?
has
Like having
had two. That's
and then
true. Okay, Carolyn. Well, what is giving you life this week?
really
What's going on? Wait, what?
just said being outside, being in the sun, being
Oh,
it's cold.
no, that was a that give me something more in depth.
My please.
Come on. You have to have something.
No, that's what came to my brain and came to that's what's in my heart right now, Carson, and I can't force it. I can't force anything more. Do you know what I'm saying? I
No,
get
it's true.
and so if that's what's like coming from my heart right at that moment, that's what it is, you know?
Yeah. So in good spirits and chasing what's giving you life, you should go and to the beach with me.
All right.
I've
What's
been
telling you, Carson?
I've literally been so I'm going to the beach in a couple months and I've been trying to convince Carolyn to go with me and she's like, I can't because I have Halloween or something. I'm like, Halloween? Oh my goodness. But it is fine. So I'll talk about what's puzzling me real quick.
Yes, please do.
This week it's legitimately it is related to puzzles because so I'm currently
My
getting
teeth are so white. It almost looks like it should be illegal, to be honest.
gosh, I wish I had that problem. If I did, my teeth would hurt all the time because I have sensitive teeth and I did whiten my teeth.
Grow up.
I
It's
did whiten my teeth before I went out on Survivor. I think everyone
please.
does.
It's 2024. Okay.
Okay, but back to
What's
what's puzzling.
puzzling you, Carson?
Okay, what's puzzling me is when you're 3D printing something, how do you tolerance it right? Because oftentimes, if you don't tolerance it close enough in proximity, your puzzles will be too loose. But then if you over tolerance them and you get them too tight, then your puzzle pieces stick together too much and they're hard to remove. So it's a balance of how do you get enough resistance so that the puzzle pieces stay together, but then over time still stay together without making them too loose or too rigid. It's quite a process. So I'm still struggling with it. And maybe once I do send some more out, you can try it out and tell me what your thoughts are, because that's been my big thing. See this tree behind me? If you're watching, that one, in my opinion, is looser than my other puzzles, the dragon and the fires. So I know this is bothering Carolyn, but that's what I'm dealing with. So if you haven't already subscribed to our Patreon, we do a bonus segment called Tiki Tiki Talkie, where basically we just talk about all the real, if you know what I mean, the stuff that we can't say publicly. I'm kidding. But no, actually, that is usually what we talk about. And we have a good time just interacting with y'all, getting to know y'all better, and it helps support us. So if you haven't already, subscribe to us there. And if not, we'll see you next week to recap episode 2.
Girl.
Bye.